What about free healthcare?
It's going live. It says we're live.
Are we
But are we really
streaming?
live?
Are we streaming
Are we streaming? Yes, we are.
on the YouTube?
On the YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I popped out the
This
chat.
is my voice.
We're doing it.
Live now, it says on the YouTube.
Live.
Two watching now, according to YouTube.
That's you and
One
me.
of them was me.
Oh. Well, then one of us is not watching.
Who's not watching?
One of us can't even be arsed to watch their own show. Oh, there's three of us.
There
Three
we
people
go.
in.
Finally.
3 people in.
Well, we are like 15 minutes late, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hello and welcome to episode 675 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. I am your host, Chris Johnston, and with me, as always, from Canada, it's Mr. Greg Seward.
Hello.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you, and happy
Oh,
Thanksgiving to all my
yeah.
fellow Canadians out there.
Yes. So was Thanksgiving today, or is that officially like tomorrow, or when does it happen? When is your Black Friday?
Good question. Our Black Friday is actually the same as your Black Friday because all of the major corporations are Americans. So
Oh, well, there you go.
Wait, you say
Um,
good question. Do you not know when Canadian Thanksgiving is?
I think it's tomorrow.
You think it's tomorrow?
I think it's Monday.
What?
Think.
What is going on in Canada that you don't know when your
You don't even
holidays
know
are?
your national holidays?
No, not really.
Not
I remember
important.
asking you what Boxing Day was, and you were kind of like, I don't know. That was, I
No,
mean, that was
I've-
forever. That was years ago.
We had
But
a whole discussion about Boxing Day.
I don't remember.
I read the Wikipedia article and everything.
oh, man.
my.
That's when we gave our servants their presents.
Is that what it is?
I don't remember. I think it's something along those lines. It's something along those
remember.
lines.
Oh, boy.
And joining me from the great state of Washington is Mr. Phil Theobald.
American Thanksgiving,
America.
Yeah.
the proper Thanksgiving,
Still like
is
So,
on,
isn't
is
it,
on a Thursday.
Isn't it Columbus Day down there tomorrow? Or
yeah,
something?
Columbus Day tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We love Columbus down here. Columbus.
do.
Christopher Columbus. Right before the show, CJ is like, let's not get political.
Yeah, I know. That's why I
Let's
brought
talk
it up.
about Columbus Day.
The
Okay.
whole reason I brought it up.
So,
Talk about Columbus.
oh boy.
Oh, Lord.
Oh man.
That's the whole reason.
Wow.
We starting off on the right foot. America.
Apparently so.
There it
Yes,
is.
we are. Hey, you guys.
Hey, what?
Did
Hey,
you
you
pay attention to
guys.
this?
Hay is for horses and cows like you.
Did you pay attention to this
CJ.
Fortnite event that happened today?
Yeah, Fortnite's
I
dead.
hear it's down.
Season
They
10.
killed off Fortnite.
They killed off Fortnite. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So there was a live event that at the end of it, now there's just a black hole, and there's just a black hole. And
Okay.
it's been that way for like 6+ hours now.
So
People are going
Yeah.
nuts.
I know very little about Fortnite. So if I go into
same.
if I go in to play Fortnite right now,
Yeah.
can I
you just
not
see a
play
black hole.
Fortnite?
You
can't
cannot
play.
play Fortnite. No.
It's just like,
it's just
sorry,
down.
there's no game.
No, it doesn't even say that. It just shows you the black hole.
Oh, okay.
That's what
And
you'll
you're just
see.
like, stick around. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, but to
well,
be fair, I mean, live events are kind of their thing. Like,
Right,
yeah,
right,
they've done
right.
that for
This is
every
what they
season.
do.
Yeah.
But they haven't had one, to my knowledge, anyway, where at the end of it, it's the whole game has gone down.
I don't know. Yeah.
They have like an end event, and then the game is still live, and then the next season starts like a few
Pretty
days
ballsy.
after.
Okay.
So,
So
I mean, if they could, if anyone could pull it off.
right.
Yeah. So now it's just a black hole. Apparently, maybe even until Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Just
Wow.
off. So that's
Boy.
They're probably just
Wait,
celebrating Columbus Day.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Fortnite's
course.
down for so long, you'd think it's being run by PG&E. Hey, hey, ho, ho, hey. How you doing, everybody?
Yeah. So what are
Wow.
they just randomly turning people off? Is that how that was that whole story?
Yeah, it's like when I'm hanging out with you. Just turns me right off. Mhm.
wow.
That's
Wow. But anyway, the rumor is that for Fortnite, not
Yeah.
not California.
Not Pacific Gas and Electric.
No, is that they're going to have some kind of new map where basically they're blowing up the game in some way that it's taking like a large amount of downtime.
It's a refresh.
To refresh. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm sure all of us will be playing Fortnite on Tuesday to see.
Hey,
waiting with bated breath. Yeah.
So speaking of games that the kids love,
mm-hmm.
and I guess by kids I mean younger kids.
Yeah.
My son today, he's 7. I mean, he's been 7 for a few months now, but he remains 7 and will remain 7 for a while.
Sure.
But he asked me today if he could start playing Roblox. Is this a bad idea? I know. Boy, if you think I know nothing about Fortnite,
it's not. It
is the jankiest of janky games.
My daughter plays it. My oldest daughter plays it. She's 12.
Right.
You can turn off all the social stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you can.
And once you've done that,
there's
nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
No.
And now it's a PC only thing, right?
And Xbox.
But yeah, it is on Xbox.
It is on Xbox One.
They have it on Xbox, really?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe that'd be where.
And iOS. It's on iOS.
Oh, really? Huh.
But I mean,
it's cross-platform too.
It
is very much a you can spend lots of money in there if you want. But my oldest has never spent a dime on it.
Okay, so it's like a free to play kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes. But it has one of the things about it is that there's tons of I don't know what they're called. I would call them mods.
User generated content.
Yes. They're called obbies.
Obbies?
Obbies.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know this because my daughter
Minecraft has. Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. Minecraft has a similar thing, where users can create their own worlds and play styles and such and upload it.
Yeah.
My daughter plays it and she plays it. The only people that she can chat with are people she knows,
right?
Like her actual real life friends,
right?
She chats with them, and although 9 times out of 10 she just chats using FaceTime on her phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that most of the content on Roblox is made by youngsters as well.
Yeah. Right.
So
it's safe but terrible.
Safe but terrible.
Terrible but
accurate.
Safe, but not terrible in the oh my god, what am I exposing my child to?
Right. But this is
just kind of janky, like CJ said.
Right. Janky. Okay. Well, I guess we'll look into it. I don't know. Maybe if we just kind of keep it quiet for a couple of days, he'll forget about it.
He'll forget about it.
Next thing.
He'll be back on
how many
Fortnite.
times have you done that?
Did he start asking about it once the black hole appeared in Fortnite? Is that what
he doesn't really play Fortnite. He played a little bit of Fortnite when he was hanging out with a couple kids in the neighborhood who played Fortnite, but then they moved and he suddenly lost interest completely in Fortnite. So
kind of reminds me of when my son and I were out somewhere, we had some time to kill, and there was a Games Workshop there.
Mm-hmm.
So I took him into Games Workshop.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much cool stuff in those stores.
Yeah.
And it's so expensive. And he's he decided, I really want to get into this. I'm like, I don't think we have the budget for you to get into this. So
I have a coworker who has a daughter who is maybe 2 years older than Finn. Mm-hmm. And they met each other at a summer camp a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And they did not realize that I worked with her mom, and it was one of those things.
I think you told us the story.
Yeah, it was Finn's oh, I really like Pokemon, and the girl's I like Pokemon too. And then, oh, my dad works for Pokemon. Really, my mom works for Pokemon, and so they bonded that way. And it turns out that me and her mom are actually not in the same department, but in 2 departments that work in close proximity.
Mm-hmm.
So they became real good buddies, and she had her birthday party at a Games Workshop.
Oh,
well, that's yeah.
And so, and Finn got invited to it. And of course, it's the same thing like you were saying, Greg.
Slippery slope.
Yeah. It's
I mean, they're smart about it, because that was the thing that when we were in there, that the guy, super nice, the store it was great. It was fun for me to go through too. Cause I mean, some of the miniatures and stuff they have in there are just gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
And, I was like, this is so cool, but I would never do it.
Right.
And the owners could see, or the guy working there could see, obviously, like my son's eyes were as big as saucers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, we have painting workshops every Saturday, and if you come in, we give you one for free and teach you how to paint it. And I'm like, no, don't stop.
Yeah, yeah.
So every now and then he'll bring it up, but we haven't actually done it because I don't want it to become an obsession.
Yeah. No, because that stuff is,
and it has to be
expensive.
Yeah,
stupid expensive. And yeah, you are, if you're in for one, you're in for a million of those things.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but
it's worse than G.I. Joe or muscle figures when we were.
No,
yeah, muscle figures were so cheap.
muscle. That was the
Muscle's
draw of
nothing.
muscle.
Great.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
It's
they
like
were.
what, like $5 for 30 of them or something?
Something like that. Get the little trash can of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Indeed.
muscle.
Muscle's the best.
Heck yeah.
When I was over in Japan, I found some gacha machines that had muscle in them.
Ah, I did as
Some,
well. Yeah.
Kanikuman? Man,
yes.
Kanikuman, yep.
Yeah. Oh, look. Woo! Oh, there's one. Yeah,
One of
now.
wasn't it one of, if not the first licensed Famicom game?
It might have been the first one. Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah, that muscle game for NES, which was terrible.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh, it was so bad. So,
Well, it's not so bad. Got
solid
some
segue.
details about PlayStation 5, which now is officially PlayStation 5.
Okay,
Yeah, before
they're just sticking with the number.
Before they were like, "Oh, this is our next generation console." Now they're saying, "Yes, PlayStation 5." So
They should have gone with PlayStation V.
PlayStation,
But-
wonderful.
people would remember about the Vita then.
No one's going to remember the
True.
Vita, no matter what. No one's going to remember the Vita or Vita. I like
Well,
the Vita too.
We got some more details. Of course, no games announced still.
Right.
Although I'm sure NAC 3 is going to be part of the launch lineup, right?
Jesus.
They did reveal some about the new controller
Mhm.
that'll ship with the system. And
Does it look
one
like a
of those-
DualShock 3? Which looks like a DualShock 2? Which looks like a 6-axis?
It's the DualShock 5. Finally.
I would not be surprised if they call it DualShock 5, but
Yeah.
at the moment they're not attaching that
Hmm.
label to it. But the Wired article that dropped with some of these details said that it looked an awful lot like a DualShock 4. So would
there
not
you
be
go.
Why wouldn't it? I mean,
would not
they
be shocked to see it called the
would not be
DualShock 5.
DualShocked.
Yeah.
Why reinvent
I don't blame them though.
the
Like,
wheel?
why exactly? You've got a
Yeah.
great controller that stood the test of time.
Ain't
It
broke.
with,
Yeah.
with slight updates in this previous generation. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the big news here with the controller is that haptic feedback replaces the rumble motors. So much like HD Rumble
Mhm.
had that's haptics, the new controller will have that haptic technology. So
Hopefully they don't waste
it's-
any money on a touch screen.
instead of the motors, yeah, exactly. Instead of the motors, or
Yeah.
not even touch screen, touch pad.
Touchpad,
Right.
yeah. Sorry.
Get that. Just get rid of that. It'll have haptics like the Joy-Con. So
Okay.
like HD Rumble. So you'll have different sensations there. Though I'm sure they'll have a game. Maybe it's NAC 3 that allows you to like shake the Joy-Con and feel how many parts of NAC are in your controller.
I think you just started a design document for NAC 3.
Did I?
I think you may have.
What do you mean? What do you mean just started?
Yeah.
He's just hinting at what he's already got complete
Killer
2
app.
years ago.
Killer app. My daughter loves NAC 2.
Yeah.
Loves NAC 2.
And that's the great thing about that, because not a good game, objectively not a good game.
well, it's like it
I'm
plays
just
like a
kidding.
Lego game.
I've never played it. I
It
don't
plays
know.
like a Lego game.
But-
It's fine.
But you know what? In your daughter's mind, it'll always be one of her favorites because she got to play it with daddy,
I think that's true.
Aw.
and that's one of the
Yes.
greatest parts about it.
Indeed.
She'll have wonderful
And,
memories of that game for years.
I think so. Yeah. And then the other innovation there that they revealed about the controller is adaptive triggers. So these are the L2 and R2. Now, apparently, they'll have some kind of amount of resistance to the triggers so that developers can program in the sensation of like drawing back a bow in
That's
the thing,
great.
which
Hmm.
it kind of sounds like this is an evolution of what the Xbox One had with the triggers that rumbled.
Rumbled. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll have to see. So
It'd be great for driving games as well.
Yeah, one of the
Especially
examples
on the brake pedal, like resistance on the brake pedal and things.
One of the examples in the Wired article is that apparently GT Sport didn't have Rumble or had a very limited use of it because
I don't remember
when they added it, it just was rumbling all the time.
Oh,
So
really?
with Haptic Rumble, the Wired author played a version of that has the Rumble.
Well,
triggers
I mean, I think that's because I think that using racing as an example, I love the idea of that because I don't drag out my steering wheel setup whenever I want to play a racing game. I feel I should, but I don't, and so I normally play with a controller, and that's one of the reasons why I leave things like anti-lock brakes on, because anyone who's driven a car knows that, especially if you've been in a situation where you guys grew up in Chicago, so you probably know this, where your wheels lock.
Oh,
while you're braking or something, you feel that through the brake pedal.
You sure do.
And so if they can recreate that while using a controller, that'll be amazing.
That'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that, and I don't play Gran Turismo, but I'm very interested in that.
I'll say this for the PS5.
What's that?
Haptic Rumble and the Adaptive Triggers would be a pretty good band name. So
I like it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
In the Wired article, they go into some more detail about some other features. Of course, they don't show the controller. It's like you're talking around. It just shows the controller. But
they don't want to show anything until after it's Christmas, I would think.
It's going to look like a DualShock, right? But apparently there are holes on the controller that might be a microphone.
Holes?
That makes it go faster.
Go faster. Speed holes.
Put speed holes in my car.
But Mark Cerny not willing to talk about that right now. But there might be a microphone in there. So
okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the old Visionary toys. You're gonna have like armor and stuff you can add on to it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Some of the
Is
other
that the Visionaries? No, that was a different toy
Don't
line.
remember that.
Some of the other details here. So the PS5 is launching in the holiday season of 2020, and games will come on 100 gig discs.
So really? So GD-ROMs?
We'll still have an install. So of course you'll have to install. But according
Centurions, that's what I was thinking of. The Centurions.
Do you remember completely? Because now that we're talking about toys, what were the name of those toys? What were the name of those toys that were insect themed? Like they were the
Sectars.
And you
with the puppets.
They were so cool.
That was the Sectars. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I thought about that, but
the Sectars. Yeah, they had giant bugs.
Yes, they would ride giant bugs.
They were hand puppets,
and their legs were hand puppets. But then they were like hard plastic toys on top.
Yeah,
they were really nicely done too.
Yeah.
Like
you could put the action figures on your hand and fly them around the room and stuff.
CJ's just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
that's mostly why I brought it.
So anyway, 100 gigabyte discs, and the way that the PlayStation 5 will install data, apparently it allows you to install just like a particular mode of a game. Like if you want to hop right into multiplayer, which if you'll remember, like
really
PS4,
like that.
PS4 did have that with some games at the beginning of the
did it really?
generation.
Oh.
Yeah. Like Last of Us Remastered, I think it asks you if you want to install the multiplayer first or the single player. Several other games were like that.
Nice.
But not very many used that feature.
Right.
But apparently it's going to become more prevalent with PS5, down to the ability to possibly like delete entire modes off your hard drive if you want. So
I love that.
Fridge
gets
a little bit more involved there. That's very interesting. Like if you're not at all playing the multiplayer mode of a game, you can just delete.
That's cool.
Entirely. And I guess since the system's going to have an SSD as its main storage capacity, how big do we think the system's going to be? Like a 1 terabyte SSD is probably fairly pricey for a game system. And if you're talking about games that come on 100 gigabyte discs, then you're talking about only having like 10 games installed. So, maybe there'll be some kind of external storage solution, or
there'll almost definitely be.
Yeah,
Some kind
and
of
it sort
external.
of makes me wonder if the system itself would be smart enough to dynamically bring a game that's on like your external hard drive onto the SSD for while you're playing, and then like shuffle things on and off based on
Isn't
how
that-
often you use them. Which, by the way, Apple has Fusion hard drives that do a very similar thing. They have a small SSD and then a larger sort of disk, hard disk, just a traditional one, and they put basically what you use the most on the fastest drive, and then shuttle anything that's not being used off.
Isn't that thing with SSDs though that you don't want to write to them too often? Doesn't that wear them out pretty fast? I thought that was a thing, and I mean that's from like 3 years ago. But
yeah, is that still a thing?
I don't think
know.
that's still a thing.
I hope not.
But yeah, all this stuff is pretty interesting. There's a Digital Foundry video that talks about the more technical aspect of this announcement that people can check out. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what else, like, and also how long this sort of drip feed of information is going to continue. Because of course, Sony had a Wired article in the spring that announced some details, and then we have this, and so when do we think we're actually going to hear more and see software?
Whatever their next big Sony game day thing will be around March.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally the PlayStation meeting type things that they have are in February around that.
And that's when it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean that's when we heard about PS4. And then when they announced the PlayStation 4, they didn't even show the box.
They won't want to further cannibalize PS4 for this Christmas. So
I think you're right. Yeah. But yeah, some interesting stuff coming around for the PS5. Anyway, so Doom Eternal has been delayed until March 2020. So this is kind of a late stage delay for this game. Delayed on all platforms, and then Doom 64, which initially was like a Switch only separate thing, coming out in November, is also delayed, and it's going to be a pre-order bonus for all systems. So
really
get that. And Doom Eternal on Switch is delayed indefinitely. It will not be coming out in March, and there is no date for that. So yeah.
Man.
Coming out, Doom Eternal now coming out on the same day as Animal Crossing, but not on Switch.
The only eternal thing about this game is how long we're waiting for it.
Ha-cha-cha! Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha! What's it already? It's already been at like 2 E3s, right?
That's really?
I think so. I don't know. But anyway, you have to wait a little bit longer for it. So I know you're very concerned.
Sorry, Doom fans.
Yes. All right. Should we get into what you've been playing? I think we should.
Why not?
And I'll start.
What else do we have to do?
I'll start. So Untitled Goose Game, I finished it.
Honk.
Good on you.
What a delightful short little game. And I've been playing it in sort of short bursts when my daughter's been around, because she likes watching the naughty goose get up to naughty things.
It sounds gross when you describe it.
It really
that way.
does.
Okay.
By the way, CJ, is that a new shelf behind you?
Yeah, you like it?
Look at that. Well, I mean, looks like a lot of random crap on it, but
those are amiibos.
That's what I said. Random crap.
Is that just all amiibos?
Yeah, those top 3 are all
my
amiibo.
goodness.
Yeah.
You know what you need?
What
stuff other than amiibo?
Well, there's that, but you need some tiers in there. Get some tiered shelves to go.
You're wasting a lot of space back there.
I'm seeing a lot of negative space, and it looks less than ideal. Well, no, it's not as aesthetically pleasing as it could be.
I am excited to see that that plush Mario that's been around your apartments for 20 some odd years.
Oh,
is it?
One. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a different one.
Yeah, go to Bed Bath and Beyond. Get yourself a little tiered spice rack kind of thing.
I will say this is an upgrade from my previous amiibo storage system.
Yeah, which was just
a new apartment, which is just on the floor.
Right. So
yes, amiibo's the plural, and if it's not, it should be.
Amiibo is the plural. That's
There you go.
correct. Yeah. But yeah, on Untitled Goose Game, I've been playing that, finished it, and the ending, I won't spoil it, but it's cute. It's very cute. Cutesy.
She
Delightful.
likes to see the naughty goose.
It's delightful.
Me
And of course, at the
daughter
end of-
loves to see the naughty goose.
Of course, at the end of the game, they give you like another list of objectives that you can do. Maybe I'll go back and do them, but they are maybe a little more involved than
Really?
than the standard game stuff. But yeah, great fun though. Had a lot of fun with Untitled Goose Game.
Do the goose's acts of mischief become more nefarious as the game goes on?
Yeah, it's full on murder by the end.
Is this like is it like the Joker movie?
I think the last goal is eat him while he's still breathing.
Oh my goodness. Does the game turn into an exploration of one goose's descent into madness because society has wronged it?
Basically, yes. Basically,
yes.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Did she put up a fight? Hey, remember how Grease is really rapey?
I do remember.
Remember
that.
how there's a cute upbeat song about unwanted sexual advancements? Boy, kids love it though. Tell me more. Tell me
the
more.
music's so catchy.
Yeah, exactly. You almost forget it's about rape. Good job, Grease.
Yeah.
It's a different time, Phil.
Clearly.
It's a different time.
Clearly.
I've also been playing the new game from Hacker Alias Benjamin Rivers, friend of the show. Worse Than Death came out last Tuesday.
I downloaded that game
Excellent.
illegally off of a pirate website. Well,
you don't want to support the developer.
He's fine. He's doing fine. No, I purchased it. I purchased it on the Switch.
Oh,
but
okay,
I have not had a chance to play it yet.
All right. Yeah, available on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So
excellent.
And in addition, it's on iOS. So that's
it's been out on iOS for a while, right?
Since the summer. Yeah.
So, I'd been holding off.
Hey, it's a good month to play it now because it's Halloween.
It is. Yeah,
it's
spooky game for spooky times this October.
Well, I thought you said we weren't getting political.
So you play the main character is Holly, and she goes back to her hometown for a high school reunion and sort of dredges up things that were happening in the town and
bodies from the river
now. And it's a horror adventure game, and I think it's a really interesting game. And full disclosure, I played it in the spring to help out Ben Rivers, gave him some feedback on it and whatnot. So, but I really enjoy the game, and it's a great spooky graphic adventure title. And I'm a little more than halfway through the game on Switch again.
Oh, nice. About how long is the game?
A bit.
Oh,
it's only like
a couple hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's a real tightly packaged story.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And the version I played did not actually have the ending on it, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the end chapter has in store. But you it's graphic adventure, and you have to avoid these sort of entities that are patrolling the town, as well as uncovering puzzles and clues and things. So it's
cool.
It's great. Yeah, throw on some headphones, pick it up for Switch, and check it out. Highly recommended. And it's only $10, and it's been on sale now for the launch week at $7.99. But support indie devs. Absolutely, check this out.
Especially ones who listen to our show.
Especially friends of the show.
Those are
absolutely those are the most important.
Benjamin's a super nice guy.
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
very much so.
So he deserves your support.
I totally agree. The other game I've been playing is from Devolver Digital. They published it. It's called Heave Ho. And I don't know if you're familiar with this game.
Sounds piratey.
It is not a pirate game, oddly enough.
Did you download it thinking it was, and then got very disappointed when it wasn't?
No. But I'd heard that it's great. It's a really fun multiplayer game, like a couch co-op game. And the idea is that you and your family or friends play these little characters with big arms, and the triggers on the controller control the grasp on either arm or either
Oh,
hand.
it's one of those.
And it's sort of like co-op as well, where like the right analog and left analog control the arms, and you have to basically help each other get to the exit of each level. And by grabbing onto surfaces and swinging yourself. And we started playing it yesterday or maybe Friday night, and it's like all my daughter wants to do is play heave ho.
Yeah.
Because when we play it, we have just had an absolute blast, and she and my wife are both laughing hysterically, and it's just a ton of fun. It's $10 on the Switch. I think it's only on the Switch and PC right now. And it's a laugh riot. It's great, and there's no time limit or anything, so you can take your time getting through each of the stages. But of course, it tells you what your time was once you're done with it. But there's no like in-game clock running or any sort of time pressure, so you can really kind of take your time and try to coordinate as a team. You can play it solo as well, but it's great fun. I think we've made it through 3 or 4 of the game's main areas now, and we're getting better each time. Like we go back and play the first area, and it only takes us like 12 seconds to complete the first stage. So getting much better. Of course, the timer stops when all players get to the finish line. So, but yeah, my wife, who doesn't play a ton of video games, is enjoying it as well. So,
Need a mosquito.
That's what I've been playing. So, Phil,
Yeah.
what do you got for us?
Well, I am continuing my journey through Koholint Island in The Legend of Zelda: The Awakening of Link.
Yes.
On the Nintendo Switch.
Woke Link.
Yep. Link's getting woke. And
Link's Awakening.
We'll see what happens.
Link's Awakening.
I am very close to the end of that game.
You should be.
Which dungeon?
Second one.
Third? No, I'm on the third. No, I just entered the Eagle dungeon,
Yeah.
Eagle Tower, or whatever. Which is what, the 7th?
7
And
yeah.
7, yeah.
Yeah. So
7 out of 8.
I'm getting
Spoilers.
close.
Spoiler.
Getting close. So still, I love that game. I'm a big fan of Link's Awakening in all its forms, be it black and white or color or Switch remake.
I still need to hop back in and do the color dungeon.
Yeah,
I've not done that.
Listen to this guy. How dare you?
It's when the novelty of it being in color isn't there. It's not that good.
Well, okay.
You know what? It's still in color, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in color. It'd be great if you could play it in black and white.
That's a moment for you to reflect on. Isn't it great that we can broadcast images in color? Just reminds you of that, which I think is great. So yeah, absolutely. I'm having a ton of fun with Link's Awakening still. So hooray for me. I am my free month of Apple Arcade continues. Although I'm probably going to get dinged for the.
You're probably like a week or 2 weeks away from getting dinged.
Yeah, because I started late. I started when it went up for Apple TV.
Yeah. Okay.
So I may end up getting dinged for another month if I'm not watchful. Mindful.
Well, the odd thing about this is, since this is a free trial, if you hit cancel, it cancels it right away. Instead
does it really?
The usual thing with subscriptions,
right,
on Apple devices anyway, is it lets you play up until, or lets you do whatever,
right,
your subscription ran out. So.
Right, but if you cancel early, it just says
it's just a big screw you.
It says you're out.
Too bad. Too bad.
Yeah.
Because I have no desire to continue paying for this. The games, the games are $5 a month. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
think of everything you could do with that $5.
I know, right? They could throw it away, for crying out loud.
Set it on fire.
But that said, I started playing Grindstone, which is
pronounced
that
grindstone.
Grindstone.
Oh, jeez. I feel like an idiot now.
Yeah.
So I've been playing some Grindstone because obviously you guys talked about how great it is, and I've certainly heard that consensus from the internet as a whole. So I started playing. That's a fun little game.
It is.
It's a fun little
I like
game.
it a lot.
Yeah, it's a iOS puzzle game. It's nicely done. It's got a cute little Cartoon Network style aesthetic to it, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You remember that Cappy did Critter Crunch as well.
Oh, yeah, which Critter Crunch was also great.
Yeah, exactly. The sort of toony puzzle visuals of that brought forth.
I like the little risk reward system it has. You know, do you continue the puzzling, making combos to earn more grindstones? Or do you get out of there because more dudes get blowy uppy? Yeah. So it's a fun little game.
It is. Did you play it on mostly your phone, or did you play it on Apple TV as well?
I played it mostly on my iPad.
Okay. I mean, the fact that you can play it on the Apple TV is interesting, and almost makes me wonder if they're going to bring it to other platforms.
No, it wouldn't be
in the future.
I mean, that game though seems like it's made for touch.
Yeah. Oh, certainly.
So
certainly.
I which is why I played it on the iPad instead of the Apple TV, because it seems like it'd be kind of a pain to play on with a controller.
Oh, I agree.
But yeah, it's really fun. Do I want to pay $5 forever to continue playing it? I do not. At all.
Right.
And now you know what? And again,
it's got like 150 stages, I hear.
This is one of those another one of those things where it's like, I would pay $5 for that game. If they just threw that game up on the App Store.
But that's not how it works.
It's $5. Buy it. Cool, man. I'm in. But
it's been pretty much proven that that's not the way to make any money.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
Because people won't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of that, they're not even doing that with the Apple Arcade games. Like, you can't buy them outright.
Yeah, which, so okay, sorry. Again, there's a couple games that I found that I'm like, yeah, these are cool.
Yeah,
but not cool enough for me to
shell out the monthly.
A monthly fee. So, sorry, Grindstone, you're great. You ain't that great. So.
All right.
None of the games. That is damning the service and not Grindstone, which again is pretty great. I also Apple Arcade. I started playing Slappy Bo Bappy. What's that game called?
Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Jazz Hands. What's it called?
I believe is the one you're asking for.
Sayonara Wild at Heart. Yes.
Nope.
That is the one.
Nope. Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Based on the Wild at Heart film, which was a Nick Cage vehicle, if I remember correctly. Am I right about that?
Probably.
Wild at Heart, he types into Google.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's right. The David Lynch movie with Nick Cage and Laura Dern. So it seems weird to have a new game based on that. That is a 1990 film. So, I mean, we're looking about 20 years.
Yeah.
But here it is. Have you played this game?
I have not played it yet. I've heard good things, and I've heard it's very short, like only 45 minutes long. You're playing an album, basically.
Yes. It's neat.
Yeah.
Well, I really, really like it.
And this one you can buy outright on the Switch.
You can. It is available for Switch.
Yeah.
For I think like $12,
$12.99,
something like that. Okay. $13 US.
Yep.
It's neat. As a game, it's not good, but as a audio visual experience, it is top notch.
Now, are you playing it on touch controls on your iPad, or do you have a controller?
That I was playing on the Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
So I was using a PlayStation. I was using a DualShock 4.
Yeah. And how was the process of pairing the DualShock with your Apple TV? Did that go smoothly?
It was nothing. It was super easy. Press a button, boom, there it is. It's connected. So awesome. I had no problems with that. And yeah, it looks great. It sounds great. It's got this awesome style to it that just kind of oozes cool.
Totally.
Well,
it is a Simogo game, and Simogo is
what else does Simogo do? I don't know Simogo as a name.
They've done a bunch of different iOS games. I forget what their first game was, but Bumpy Road. Do you remember Bumpy Road? It used the touch screen, and you basically like moved.
Was that the one with the
vehicle around and like made it jump and things? Nobody remembers Bumpy Road, but I do because it was really fun.
Was that the one? There was like a little old man, woman in a car. Is that one?
Maybe.
Again, Bumpy
Road. And they did Year Walk and Device 6. Those are the two games that people
types
really
into
remember
Google.
From,
no, I don't want Big Smo Bumpy Road official audio. I want Bumpy Road. Yeah. It's a little dude in a top hat with a little handlebar mustache.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun little game.
Beat Sneak Bandit. Yeah, they did a bunch of iPhone games. People remember Year Walk and Device 6 as being,
but yeah, it's super cool. If you have Apple Arcade, try it out because it is fantastic. I have not finished it yet.
It's short. As I said.
I started playing it. It was late at night, so I was like, "This is really cool." And if I don't watch myself, I am going to sit here till it's done. So I cut myself off after like maybe 7 or 8 levels.
Okay.
Which levels are very short for the most part.
As well.
Every now and again, you'll come across one that's a bit more involved, but the actual gameplay is just, it's like an endless runner. And you're just sort of moving your character.
Kind of like Rez or something similar to that, right? Kind of
it
like
does not have that much interactivity.
No, okay.
You're just kind of moving your character to the left or right to collect little gems that you're running past, and every now and again, if there's an actiony bit, you have to do a little timed, like a circle collapsing in on itself, and you hit the button at the right time to pull off a cool move.
Right.
But it kind of just feels like I'm watching something that's really awesome and occasionally pushing a button to sort of interact with it. So, again, as a game, no, but
as a free Apple Arcade thing,
as a really awesome thing to watch and vaguely interact with, it's great. It's cool. It's got a cool style and everything. So I'm sounding like I'm ragging on it, and I guess I kind of am, but it's also really awesome and I like it. So I don't know.
That's good. I've heard good things.
No, it is. It's cool. It is cool, but
and Apple is going to sell Xbox controllers in their stores.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, look at that.
To use with the Apple TV.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's what it is? It's an experience.
An audio visual experience.
It's
extravaganza
experience.
Okay.
For you on Apple Arcade or Switch.
Right.
So yeah, that is about all I have been playing.
All right then. Greg, what do you got?
I haven't played much of anything, but I have posted a new Welco Metot T-Nex T-Level article recently on the absolutely terrible Revengers of Vengeance.
Real quick, Greg, I'm going to interrupt you. Scoop Jessica is in our chat. She has pointed out to me that Wild at Heart did not come out 20 years ago.
No, you're old.
In 1990. Came out 30 years ago because holy crap.
Yeah.
We're all so old.
Someone on Facebook posted about going to a They Might Be Giants performance of Flood in next year.
Right.
And of course, it's the 30th anniversary of that album. And I remember, I don't know if I went with you, but I definitely went to the show with our friend Mike on the 10-year anniversary of
jeez.
Flood, where they performed it.
Which would have been that show. Which would have been in 2000.
Which would have been in 2000. Yeah, I went to that in Chicago.
Why is the world in love again? Why are we marching hand in hand? Why are the ocean levels rising up? It's the brand new record for 1990. They Might Be Giants. Brand new album, Flood.
Is it wrong that the only reason I remembered what year that album came out was because of that?
Because there's a song at the beginning that reminds you what year it was.
The song at the beginning of the album, yeah.
That's okay. They Might Be Giants album,
Timeless.
Mink Car, came out in 2001.
It did, and guess what day in 2001
I remember
it came out on?
because I drove to Best Buy on the day it was released.
Yep.
Right after the towers fell.
Oh my
God. So that was a great, weird, somber trip to Best Buy.
It's crazy because that's 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, we're old.
I mean, it's
we're old.
It's funny because I think I seriously had just gotten used to things happening around like 1990, 91 to being 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like thinking now, it's like, wait, kids that were born in the year 2000 can drink now. At least they can in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this thing?
Vote.
Somebody retweeted it this week, so this is why it's on my mind. The Wilford Brimley cocoon line. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's actors and like public figures who celebrate a birthday that's basically equivalent to Wilford Brimley's age when Cocoon came out.
Well, I
think about the movie Cocoon.
And he was a lot younger than you think he was.
How was it?
Tom Cruise,
about old.
Tom Cruise is older than Wilford Brimley in Cocoon, right?
Yes.
He's not.
I mean, he's been that way for a long time. But the one this week was Dave Grohl.
Okay.
Is now older than Wilford Brimley. Was it? Cocoon when Cocoon came out, and same with Jason Bateman.
Oh, really?
Older
Jason Bateman
than Wilford Brimley when Cocoon came out.
Oh,
just
my goodness.
this is called the hacker alias on this Twitter account is Brimley Line, and it has a bunch of celebrities that are now.
Wait, so how old was he when Cocoon came out?
Let's see. I'm looking at because Cocoon is 1995.
18,530 days old is
1995 minus Wilford Brimley was born in 1934. So
Norman
Wilford
Reedus, the star of the upcoming
61.
video game Death Stranding, has reached the Brimley Cocoon line.
Okay.
61?
Wilford Brimley was 61 when Cocoon came because
Norman Reedus is 61. That doesn't seem right.
I guess I don't know.
According to the Twitter account, and I believe everything that I read on the internet.
Yes.
Clearly.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, hold on. This is wrong. I typed the wrong number because Cocoon is 85. So yeah, it's 51. He was 51 in Cocoon.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And Norman Reedus is 50 years old right now. So yeah.
Okay. So there you go. Oh my
anyway.
goodness. Oh, I'm getting close to Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
Getting close to the Brimley line. No.
I'm what, 7 years away?
Yeah, crazy, huh?
The Vic 5-0 is not far away.
And it seemed like Wilford Brimley was old when Cocoon came out.
Well, Wilford Brimley.
I mean, they were retirees, were they not? Wasn't that like the whole?
That was the plot of the movie, right?
I mean, he was supposed to be older than 51, I think, in the movie, right?
Yes,
I think Wilford Brimley looked like an old man when he was probably
when he was
10.
20.
Yeah.
Right.
Wilford Brimley always had that big old.
He was like the friendly
mustache.
grandpa right through the 80s.
Yeah.
When he was clearly in his 40s.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
So now that you're taking a swig of that drink, tell us about Revengers of Vengeance.
It's terrible. It's this weird... it's a fighting game. It's a one-on-one fighting game by the same people that did Black Hole Assault. I think it's actually by the same developer that did Black Hole Assault. Which isn't going to mean any... excuse me, isn't going to mean anything to anybody, but it's terrible. And the thing that's notable about it is that they dressed it up in sort of a JRPG skin.
Oh, okay.
So in the campaign mode, you're literally in a town that looks like it's out of like Phantasy Star 3 or something.
Well, you posted because I read your Welco Me Tot article, and the town picture you posted, it looks like an early Ease game.
Yeah.
I mean, even
it doesn't mean anything.
Really?
Like you literally walk around and you can buy items, but really all you're doing is just sort of you're beefing up your stats, and you have a certain amount of time before you have to fight the final battle. But the battles are one-on-one fighting matches, and they're god awful. The only other notable thing about it is that the cover, and I talk about this in the article, is just the marketing meeting that spawned that cover. Like, first of all, that spawned the title Revengers of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Which is just a ridiculous name.
You know what, though?
Sounds like a Metal Gear title.
That's what I was going to say. If Kojima came up with that title, everyone would be falling all over themselves saying how amazing and brilliant it is. So,
but then it's just like, then it has taglines all over it, like "Revenge is sweet, they aren't."
Yeah.
And on the front, there's freaks, and you're like, it's just
what?
Bizarre.
Like you're
freaks.
Like you're at a Coney Island sideshow.
Absolutely, that's absolutely what it looks like. So. Anyway, I don't have anything to say about it outside of it's terrible. And this is the one that when we bring up the whole Sega CD articles thing in the closing notes of the show, this is the one that I've been talking about that I've been working. It took me weeks to write this short article about this terrible game, but it's mostly because I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's just so bad. And I mean, you know me, I try to find sort of positives in these old games. Not in this one.
You should say that it climbs back to the top of the yarn ball.
Up the yarn ball, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. That's all. I didn't really play anything else. I streamed a few different things. Not going to talk about them right now, but yeah. So
talk about 90s video game advertising just being bad.
It wasn't advertising. I think that was on the cover.
I know, but there was a thread on Resetera recently where they showed some 90s video game ads, and I forgot about the ad to Klonoa. Do you remember the PS1 Klonoa ad where it's like a couple kissing?
Yeah.
And the guy says like, something like, "Oh, I have Klonoa."
Right.
And the girl's like, "Oh, but I want Klonoa."
It's like a venereal disease joke. Yeah.
It's a venereal disease joke. Yeah.
Which was that
ads in the 90s were weird.
Was that a like European only ad?
It might have been. The weirder ads are always.
I think that might have been.
PC game. I don't know if it was a European ad only, but it's like a woman in a negligee, and there's a guy in the background playing a video game, and it says on the thing. I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off of me.
Right. Now wait,
is that no? Because there's a Neo Geo version of that ad too.
Yeah, because the Neo Geo ad.
That did run in America.
I think was it like Cyberlip or something? Because on the screen, because the image is blocked.
A little bit.
Blocked.
Oh, that is the Cyberlip ad.
I mean blocked in like arranging performers on a stage as opposed to not being seen.
Right.
I'm using stage terminology, CJ.
You always do that on that show.
You're right. This is a Cyberlip ad. I just went
so if you look at stage left of that ad, I don't know if that's right, but because you got the lady in the lingerie.
Yeah.
And then the dude is standing. He's playing the game in a way that nobody plays games,
especially with the Neo Geo controller.
Yeah,
because
those are resting on his
heavy sticks.
He's like Johnson.
Yeah, he's got it resting on his junk. He's not sitting on a couch. He's actually standing off to the side of the TV.
Yeah,
but he's positioned.
And the image
in such
on the
way,
screen is very phallic.
Because you're fighting. He's fighting a boss that's a very kind of fleshy, phallic-looking boss. And he's standing in such a way that it looks like it's his giant mutant monster wanger.
I never ever noticed that.
Really?
I never noticed that either.
Yeah, but
I was looking on the left side of the picture. I don't know
why is that.
Just I wanted to see what kind of sound system he had back there.
I was busy masturbating to the lady in the lingerie. I was just reading GamePro, logging an innocent little lad, and then all of a sudden I heard my weenie getting wheelie.
I was watching because it was like a few months ago. Actually, I think it was a mutual friend we all have, Anthony Parisi.
Mm-hmm.
I think he posted video of the first E3.
Okay,
and I believe Polygon did a story on it and linked to it's on YouTube somewhere, and it's like the opening. It's so funny to watch now. This is like 95.
Yeah.
And like the keynote for the first E3 ever was literally the heads of all three major manufacturers at that point getting up and making a presentation, and they're literally just standing at a podium in a very small room.
Yeah.
And so Tom Kalinske is up there, and of course this is when they were unveiling, and we found out at the end of it that was actually the day that they launched the Saturn. But one of the part of his presentation was the TV spots for the Saturn, which were terrible.
Yeah, they were.
Terrible, especially by Sega's standards, because at that point Sega was
theater of the mind stuff.
The theater of the mind.
Oh yeah,
Sega was so well known for great advertising in the video game space up until that point.
Yeah.
But I watch those now, and I mean, yeah, they're still not good. But man, video game commercials, especially from the 90s, they are hard to watch now. And I'm not talking about sexism or anything like that. Just the way that they're cut. They're so rapid fire. And there's so much flashing and everything. Like, it's just, I'm watching, it's like, oh my God, like this is actually a little bit off-putting.
Right.
But it's just like you're looking back at it now, and it was so extreme and so cool at the time. And it's like, these have not aged well at all. The MTV style advertising has not aged well at all.
No. I completely agree.
That's just reminding me of that. And now I'm just looking at Cyberlip ads.
All right, then I guess that means it's time for tweets.
Tweet, a tweet.
All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias any day now, who says has enough information to come out about the next generation of consoles for you to know which, if any, you will buy at launch.
No.
I normally, up until this last generation, I would buy all of them at launch. I don't think that's going to happen this time.
No.
I need to know what games are coming.
I want to see some prices too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I agree. Like, I buy systems mainly on the games and not the technology. Although, of course, I'm interested in the technology. I am interested in what I will be playing on these systems more than that.
I could
I'll probably pick up both. Launch, of course.
Eventually, you probably will. CJ. I could see this being the generation where I may not pick up any of them at launch. Might actually wait until. It depends on what games are available, right? I mean, if one of them launches with a new Gran Turismo or something, sure. Or there's a new this won't happen because Last of Us 2 is coming out, but something along those lines, right? Like a series that I just absolutely adore that I want to play day one, then I might pick it up. But otherwise, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, on the Xbox side, you've got Halo Infinite that'll be on Scarlet, of course.
Halo does not carry the same.
It doesn't
cash it with me that it used to. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm very curious on how either Sony or Microsoft will communicate the advantages of their hardware platform, considering that to most people, and I'm not talking about people who watch Digital Foundry videos and talk about frame rates, but to most people, I think the current generation of hardware side to side, like if you were watching it on a 1080p TV, probably won't see or be able to discern much of a difference. Maybe in terms of 30 frames versus 60 frames, but even that, I wonder if people who don't care about that thing will even notice.
I think, I don't know. For me, because I mean, I haven't experienced 4K gaming at all.
Right.
I don't have a 4K TV. I doubt I will have a 4K TV by next year.
Right.
But I mean, I remember you saying, like, even when you switched up to like the Pro and the X, that it was still a noticeable difference, even on a 1080p television.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, but it wasn't visuals at all. Like, it didn't make 1080 things look better at all in 1080p.
I mean, a little bit. Of course, I upgraded to a 4K TV shortly after.
So,
that's right. I didn't stick with 1080p for very long, but that was because 4K TVs are not all that expensive anymore.
No, they are sub $1,000 for a good television.
Yeah,
I'm talking Canadian prices.
Obviously, it sort of depends what television set you get and who the manufacturer is and whether it's good for games with the latency and whatnot. But yeah, I have a TCL. I think Phil has a TCL as well.
TCL is I hear is like the TV to get.
Yeah.
So and I've eyed one of those for a while, but I just can't see spending the cash on it yet. So,
but to me, like, it's all about what games come out for this thing. And in the Wired article about PS5 this week, I guess Blue Point is working on some kind of remaster for PS5, and it's apparently a big title. So I don't know what that means.
I see that worries me, because that was the problem at the launch of this generation. Yeah, and I know why. And there's been articles written about this where, like a lot of companies, because the previous generation was so long.
Yes.
And there was all that doom and gloom around consoles and how like consoles aren't going to be a big thing anymore. And then it turned out to be completely wrong. So everybody hedged their bets and just did a bunch of HD remasters.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but there were
a lot of AAA,
large amount of HD remasters at the beginning of this generation.
Sure, or games like Assassin's Creed Black Flag that came out cross-generationally, right?
Yeah. So like if that's what's and that's one of the reasons that I'm saying I could totally foresee not getting.
Right. I imagine in terms of third party, that'll happen a lot. Like, because I imagine AAA third party won't want to turn their backs on the installed base of PS4 for sure, and maybe the Xbox One as well, for a hardware platform that is untested, and who knows how fast any of this stuff is going to take off, right? Like if the MSRP of next generation is going to go upwards instead of down, like, because PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X aren't exactly like value consoles,
still aren't cheap. They
still aren't cheap. And then you're talking about consoles now that are going to have an SSD and hardware ray tracing and all these things that are expensive technology to put in. So what price are we going to see again? Are we going to see a Sony $599 price again? Who knows?
Then that's the other reason, like for me, I feel like these consoles are both going to be, because we know the Xbox will come around the same time.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine. Yeah.
They'll both be pushing $1,000 for me.
You think? Oh, yeah. It was like $1,000 US. That would be insane.
No. Yeah. I mean, you but no, I'm talking Canadian.
Yeah.
So, and I'm trying to think back to the launch of the One and the PS4.
Yeah.
I don't remember any launch games that stand out that make me so glad that I had them on day one. You know what I mean?
I know.
And I'm not saying there weren't good ones, but I mean, like, I know for the Xbox, for the One, for me, it was Forza.
Yeah.
But
and
that was
Dead Rising
Forza where they really started.
Right. Rome and all that.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Forza, that was the one where they really started dabbling with the whole microtransaction thing. And where that was the one that they actually came back and said, okay, we're going to give you a bunch of credits. We're going to tone it down a little bit. So it was really very underwhelming. And
to me, the PS4 launch was more about indies.
Knack.
And Knack.
Well, yeah, I mean, they focused on indies in a big way. But otherwise for launches, there was like The Last of Us Remastered, which I just played the year before.
Me too, but I still bought it.
Knack, which is okay.
Yeah, Knack's okay.
So, it's like, okay. It took a while. It took a while for those consoles to really find their feet.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I think is going to surprise a lot of people is not only what these consoles are, what the MSRP is going to be, but also that the controllers and the accessories are going to be, expensive. Obviously, for the last couple of years, you can get a DualShock or an Xbox One controller for cheap on certain sales and during Black Friday and whatnot. I remember when the Switch came out, people are like $80 for another pair of Joy-Con. Like, that's insane. But controllers, like at launch of the Xbox One and PS4, they were up there too.
Controllers are not a cheap purchase anymore.
Extra controllers are not a cheap purchase anymore. And on the Digital Foundry video, they talked about having like a touch screen on the PlayStation controllers. I was like, if you add a screen to that,
yeah,
that's going to be really expensive.
Well, I mean, they keep jamming so much technology into those things now, right? It's not like the old days for like Super Nintendo or even the PlayStation or Saturn,
right,
where they were just haptics, literally a bunch of buttons.
Yeah, I mean, the haptics technology is not cheap. And if the PlayStation controller has a microphone in it, that's not going to be cheap either.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to see. But prepare to pay a lot for this next generation. I know, like with each generation, you have like a few years where controllers aren't that expensive, and there's a bunch of third-party options, and the systems go on sale and have a bunch of pack-ins, but that just doesn't happen at a system launch. So people are going to get reminded of that next year.
Yep.
Anyway, let's do this one from a hacker alias Beard the Movie, who says, "What game do you love that you are terrible at?"
Any shooter, really.
Any shooter.
I love shooters in general, but I'm so bad at them. And it's not just the bullet hell shooters, like just old school, like early 90s shooters from 30 years ago. I'm just terrible at them, and I love them. So yeah, I'd say probably, I can't think of a particular one, but yeah, I'm god awful at shooters.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing. Like bullet hell shooters, like at a certain point, I just stopped buying.
Me too. I can't handle bullet hell shooters.
It was like, oh, I love this, but I'm so bad at it. Like I can't. Like I want to love it. Like anything that comes out, Ikaruga was maybe like one of my last shooter purchases.
Yeah, I think
whenever Konami does like a Gradius new thing, I'll buy that. But like anything that puts a ton of bullets on the screen, it's just I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Ikaruga is probably the moment where I realized that was the case, because I was a big Radiant Silvergun fan, and I actually did get pretty decent at Radiant Silvergun, but Radiant Silvergun rewarded you for continued play. Like if you would always go up levels, it would save your progress. So every time you played it, you'd actually be a little bit more powerful, which I loved, because it totally played into, me being terrible at shooters. But Ikaruga, I was like, oh, well, I'm a Radiant Silvergun fan, so I've got to get Ikaruga. I just could not. I just sucked at it. At it completely. Couldn't do it. I get it. I get the mechanics of it. I totally understand what I'm supposed to be doing. I just can't do it.
Yeah. Let's do this one from hacker alias Lolmanade, who says, "What licensed property that hasn't had a game yet would you most want to see?"
Sectors.
Can I say Jason the Wheeled Warriors?
I would say John Wick, but they just came out with some John Wick game on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, and that's coming to other platforms too.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
I don't know if is it any good though.
I've heard good things. I haven't played it yet. I have it on my machine because it was on a deep discount on the Epic Game Store at one point. But
oh really?
Yeah. Anything that Mike Bithell does is worth checking out. So
a franchise that a license that I'd love to see come back, just because I love it so much.
Yeah,
love to see them do another Robotech game.
Oh, yeah.
Those are fun.
For that.
Even the one I worked on was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, not much, but according to EGM.
Wow. All right.
Oh boy.
Mask. We need a Mask game. There you go. Mask.
Oh. What is Mask? Mask is an acronym.
I used to know it.
Do you it's Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Right.
Yeah.
Command with a K.
With a K is,
There you go.
the 80s.
Those toys were great.
Yeah, they really were.
Let's do this one from hacker alias Lauren Helgeson, who says, what is your favorite video game or your least favorite gaming console?
Tempest 2000.
Easy answer there.
Yeah.
Tempest 2000.
Return Fire on 3DO.
Oh yeah, Return Fire on the 3DO. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great game.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tempest 2000 on the Jaguar. I struggled to find any good things to say about pretty much any other Jaguar game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Road Rash on 3DO.
Yeah, Road Rash is great.
There you go.
So 3DO is your least favorite console? Was it
No, Jaguar is.
I haven't really. I don't know if I've ever actually played the Jaguar.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I still
yeah.
have mine.
Whoa.
I don't.
I still have one in storage.
Oh,
Do you really?
Got real
I
cheap.
loved the Jaguar, man.
The Jaguar was so bad. It was so so bad.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment you hooked the thing. I remember we rented that thing.
Yeah.
It was available at a rental
thing.
store around here, and my friend and I picked it up and for a weekend, and we were taken aback by just how cheap it feels right off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even little
Yes.
things like no cover for the cartridge slot. It's just
Yeah.
open to the. I was like, really? Like we've had covers. The 2600 technically had a cover for the cartridge slot. You know, it's the thing that pushed in.
Well, yeah.
Technically, but I mean, even if you take that out, we'd had covers on our cartridge slots for over a decade because they get dusty. You know, like
do.
and like I think I remember the back of the thing, like the connectors for the television, were all exposed to, I think, and the controllers were terrible. They were just wide enough that the buttons were too far away, and just everything about that system was
terrible.
such garbage.
I wanted to like it at the time. The Jaguar came out. I was on a retro kick at the time, and I was playing I was going to garage sales and buying 2600s and like playing a bunch of those games, and I liked the Atari name and the emotions that retro games evoked. So I was happy to see
they traded on that hard.
They did. I was happy to see that system come back, and of course, diehard game fan. As a reader of that magazine, when the Jaguar came out, I was hyped up on it from what the words that I read Dave Halverson wrote.
Atari's back. Come pet the cat.
That's right. So I bought one at launch, and I remember I didn't buy Trevor McFur, but I borrowed it like through that Babbage's system where you can just bring
Take
home a
home
game.
games. Yeah.
And I was so horrified at that game. It just was like clip art being moved around the screen. It did not match my expectation for the animation from those visuals that I saw in Die Hard.
It would have been great to see some major developers see what they could do with that system. But
yeah. I mean, I liked Tempest 2000 a whole lot. I liked Aliens
really good.
versus Predator at the time. I doubt I would like that now.
No, that runs at such a terrible frame rate. I'm not a frame rate junkie by any measure, but man, you try to play that now, and even compared to games that were out around at the same time, it runs at such a bad frame rate.
Yeah, but
I'm looking.
I didn't buy the
looking
CD
at a picture.
or anything.
I'm looking. Yeah, I actually grabbed when we moved and we went. The game room got opened up for people at EGM. I grabbed the Jaguar CD drive.
Oh, really?
Doesn't work. A lot of them just didn't work.
Yeah, I've heard that's like notorious for.
It's
for
very
not
hard to
working.
get a working Jaguar CD drive. I'm looking at the back of the console now, and I was right. The AV connection or something back there.
Yeah.
It's literally the
Like
exposed
open.
circuit board.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Yeah, it just felt so cheap.
Wow.
And it was. I was at Summer CES when they announced the Jaguar, and it was like rumored that they were going to announce it and whatnot. And I saw a video presentation at Atari's tiny booth. It was the Tramuels were there in front of a VCR, basically playing the sizzle reel that had like the Tiny Toons game, because remember, like,
Oh yeah, Treasure was doing that, right?
Tiny Toons game for the Jaguar. Like, I was
remember that.
I was excited about the Jaguar for whatever reason, but it did not live up to any amount of hype. For sure.
No.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Yes.
Let's do this one from Hacker Alias Shark versus Zombie, who says, if you could resurrect one canceled game, what would it be?
Tiny Toons for the Jaguar.
Right.
Show just writes itself.
Yeah.
I would have said
Virtua
Robotech
Hamster.
Crystal Dreams.
Virtua Hamster. That's a good one.
Hamster.
For the
Yes,
32X.
32X.
Oh man. Wow.
Oh. Wasn't there supposed to be an American version of Parodius? That was long rumored, right? They were going to do like a US release of Parodius, but
Possibly
take out the Uncle Sam Eagle
Oh really?
boss or whatever. I don't know. And of course the
Showgirl.
Unity. Like the isn't there like some phallic stuff in there? And
You're thinking of Choaniki.
maybe I'm thinking of Choniki, yeah, but
Now,
the Rabbit Girls.
I mean, like Sexy Parodius had.
Sexy.
There was
Parodius,
there
that's
was
right.
but I mean, it was never like full on nudity. It was just like, oh, here's a woman wearing like a you could see like the curve of her hips or something, but you couldn't actually see any naughty bits. But
right.
so what are some other canceled?
One of the ones that was canceled that I was
that would've
so
been
really
nice to see.
sad about was Police Knots.
Uh-oh.
Am I gone? Hello?
Hello.
We
My
there?
internet went out for a second there.
So did
okay.
mine. That's weird.
Well, I think CJ's hosting, so
Yeah, I guess. Maybe
anyway, I'll repeat that, although my recording should say it. One of the games that I was super excited for obvious reasons, and that was supposed to be released on the Saturn in the US and then wasn't, was Police Knots.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Well, Rent a Hero on the Xbox.
Oh yeah,
Rent a Hero would have been great too. Yes,
Calico. I think I have that. I think I have that built because I reviewed it. Pretty sure I reviewed it.
I do too, because yeah, you know what? Because there was a Game Now. Mm-hmm. We actually did we did a review of it, and we did like a little strategy guide for it.
Yeah, and then it didn't come out.
Yeah, because we had the final version of that game, and yeah, I think I still have the build of that.
Of course, was a follow up to a Mega Drive RPG.
Yes,
that's right.
Which is on the Mega Drive Mini, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But unfortunately, not translated.
Not in English.
Yeah. Well, there was at an E3 years ago.
Have we already done this question? We didn't do this question, did we?
No, I think
talking about Donkey Kong 94 or Mario.
No, I wasn't going to talk about. Okay. I wasn't going to talk about that. Although
there is that one.
That is a good one. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've been doing this show for 30 years, so we're going to tell some stories a few times.
Yeah.
13
years.
Yeah. Might as well be 30.
But
next week, I think it'll make 13.
There was a Peanuts game, I believe, scheduled for the PS1.
Yeah, I believe you did talk about this.
Yeah, it
a
was
few
like
weeks ago.
I forget. I want to say it was maybe Ubisoft was doing it, or Infogrames back when. Remember Infogrames?
Back when that was a thing.
Yeah,
sure.
Or Infogrames. How do you say? I always said Groms. Is that right?
It's not even Groms, a French company.
Grom. Yeah, where it's a French company. I've always assumed it's just Infogram.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, there was it was Charlie Brown centric. I forget what it was called. I think it was like a platformer.
Uh-huh.
And they had
like a gritty platformer.
Yeah, gritty reboot. Yeah. But yeah, there was a Charlie Brown game coming out for PS1, and it got quietly sent off to Never Never Land, and you know, later on Namco would put out that Snoopy versus the Red Baron.
Yep.
Which was a great game. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what else? The old 16-bit Akira game.
Oh yeah,
right. Which
that THQ?
That was THQ. And I did I played it years and years ago.
I think we've talked about this on the show.
Oh, I'm sure we did. I don't think we've talked about it in a few years though. But,
yeah, you're probably right.
at CES back in Chicago, THQ had the Genesis version of Akira up and running.
Yep.
And I was able to play it there, and it was neat. This was the early days of anime sort of bursting into Western mainstream culture. So it was really cool. And I think was Hardcore Gaming 101, I believe, has an article about the Akira game, and a chunk of that article is actually my recollection. Like,
oh, right on.
Yeah, it was like I guess it was probably on NeoGAF back when that was a thing. There was a thread about the Akira game or something, and I actually wrote up a little bit about, I totally played the early version at CES, and here are all the stages I remember. And someone from Hardcore Gaming 101 got in touch with me quite some time later and asked if they could use my my little write-up about it for an article that they were doing on the game. So it's probably up there if you go search Hardcore Gaming 101, which is a fantastic site, by the way.
Indeed.
Yes, it is.
Yes. But yeah.
I think that was the same CES where they had the Sequest game, and I got Ted Raimi's autograph.
Oh, my dear brother.
Sequest DSV?
Sequest DSV.
Of course.
Exactly.
Did he talk about me? Did he mention me at all?
He did not. No.
Oh, what a joke.
But I didn't even watch the show, but I still got an autograph.
That game came out though, right?
That game did come out.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that has to do with this question, but
nothing.
He just wanted to talk about Teddy. And who can blame him? He is, after all, brothers with me.
I see.
Sam Raimi, you see.
All right, I think that's where we should stop.
This is where you should stop. Stop being a jerk.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information, blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
Revengers of Vengeance.
You'll find Generation 16 episodes as they happen.
I am working on a Mega Drive mini episode. So that's kind of brought everything to a screeching halt. But
a mini-sode, as it were?
No, not at all.
A Mega Drive mini Megasode? Anyway. Yes, and then you'll get to work on whatever it is the next game is in Generation 16.
Well, no, that episode's about half done.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, good then. Good. And hey, on our website, you'll find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about in this episode, as well as a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can just go visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up Apple's podcast application. You can also head over to the Apple App Store and invest $1.99.
Cheap.
To pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application, which gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, the what have you. You also have all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android telephone users, the Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
It's right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. We're on Spotify, riding in the sky, having fun on the run. You can also, if you'd like, check out archives of our show or watch us live most weeks on the youtubes.com/P1Podcast. Follow our Twitter account to find out when we'll be broadcasting our next live show. Hey, and if you'd like what you've heard, and how could you, head over to patreon.com/P1 podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. CJ needs to buy some of those little tiered spice rack shelf things for his amiibo collection.
That's true.
And
Apparently
only
so.
you can help, dear listeners. So give early, give often. It does actually help keep the lights on and keeps us it keeps us broadcasting at this point, because Zoom, which is what we are using to
Stream to YouTube
to broadcast now, costs money.
It does.
Turns out it's a
Monthly
money-making
fee.
racket.
Yeah.
So we do appreciate your support. And of course, our Patreon friends at the $5 tier also gain access to a special weekly post show. We play games, we have fun, we toss around some laughs.
True.
You never know what sort of wackiness is going to pop up next. So don't miss out, dear friends, dear listeners.
That's right.
Join us, won't you? Hey, and if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com, where you can find the Patreon link to help support our very own Revenger of Vengeance, Greg Sewart, and his fantastic web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Phil.
Or the Mega Drive for you out of the USers.
Sure.
US and Canada.
Sure.
It's called the Genesis up here, too.
Well, yeah, that's true. Out of the North Americas. What was it called in Mexico?
I don't know, actually. I was just thinking that myself.
yeah.
I'm not sure what it was called in
I don't
Mexico.
know. Well, certainly it had a name in Mexico, which may or may not have been the Genesis or the Mega Drive. But either way, you can find all sorts of great stuff at Greg's generation-16.com. CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil.
For all of this.
Thank you.
Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you as well.
You're welcome, Phil. And thank you. And by the way, it was
Yes.
called the Genesis in Mexico.
Oh, is that right?
Also want to call out real quick, 3 weeks till game day for Extra Life this year.
Yeah.
We're doing really well. We're up over, I think, $3,500 raised so far for 2019,
nice.
which is fantastic. That's the farthest, that's the most we've raised by this time in any previous year. So that's awesome. Still aiming for $10,000 this year. And of course, doing a Mega Drive / Genesis Mini themed stream, 25 hours on November 2nd. Looking for people to sponsor those 25 hours, which I've asked for a $30 donation. And if you do decide to do that, you get to choose one of the games on those 2 mini consoles that I will play for that hour. And of course, we'll also be giving away a Genesis Mini to a lucky donor.
Nice.
So please tune in. Please donate. And please tell all your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And we will see everybody next week.
That
Bye-bye.
sounds good to me.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Bye, everybody.
Toodaloodles.